Hey, what's up guys, aarava here, and welcome back to another episode of my F1 2026 Mod Career Mode. This is part number 9 today for the Italian Grand Prix. And of course, this season we've been partnered with an Italian car brand, Lamborghini. We obviously built our own engine for this year in partnership with Lamborghini. They've got naming rights to the team for this season. And so as we come to their home race, you may already notice on screen, we've got a strikingly different livery as we are turning up not in our electric racing green neon colors, but in a lovely little yellow number as a one-off special livery for the Italian Grand Prix. If you guys did miss the previous one, then be sure to go check that one out before you see this one. That was quite a tasty one at Portimao for the Portuguese Grand Prix. Tyre wear chaos and some teammate controversy, as for the first time in our partnership we tripped over a little bit with Pierre Gasly and it flared up a little bit around Portimao. And you know, I saw quite a lot of you in the comments below of last episode calling for Pierre Gasly's head, maybe saying it's time to not re-sign him, but you know what? The last race aside, Gasly's been a very strong teammate. You can't ignore how good he was last season, carrying this team pretty much, as he was the better driver. Even though I scored just about a few more points than him by the end of it, he was the better driver last season. This season, he hasn't exactly reached the same heights as he did last season. We're the leader now. We're leading the championship, level on points with Liam Lawson. But no, Gasly, I want him to still come good. I think he's still got more to contribute to this team, and that's only one race. It's one flare up at Portimao where he got a little bit too, you know, cocky, maybe a little bit too selfish with what happened in qualifying, and especially in the race towards the end, you know, on that last lap where he pushed us off to try and get his position rather than helping the team out after I helped him actually overtake a car, you know, in those dying laps. But no, I think he's still got more to contribute to the team, so we're keeping him on at least for the remainder of this season. And to be fair, after Portimao, we're still in a good position in the championship, leading the way, level on points with Liam Lawson though, so it's still, you know, it is very, very close, but it would have been close regardless of what happened there. And in the Constructors' Championship, nothing's really changed there. We still scored some good points and limited the damage to McLaren, and obviously Piastri actually didn't score very well at that Grand Prix anyway, so we're still within the same sort of gap to McLaren. Heading into the Italian Grand Prix then, we do have some movement in the R&D chart. Aston Martin Honda upgrading enough to be level with McLaren and Red Bull on the R&D chart, and Alfa Romeo Haas bringing some upgrades to get a little bit closer to where Audi Sport are as a team. But Aston Martin really haven't shown a lot of that so far this season, so we'll see how that goes. You know, their driver lineup's a bit weaker, so maybe they're not able to extract the most out of the car, and we didn't really see the full potential of that newly upgraded Audi Works team last episode. Maybe we will do here at a track that is all about speed. It's the temple of speed as we go into qualifying, and I must say this car is looking lovely in its yellow one-off livery as we begin Q1 with our first flying lap. What the hell has just happened there? There's a car parked right in the middle of the circuit. It's Mick Schumacher in the Ferrari. What on earth is he doing? He's not even moving. He was literally sat there like a lemming on the racing line. And I couldn't even react quick enough. I started reacting by trying to dab the brakes, but then I started locking up and I had to make a very quick decision. But I couldn't even see him. Like, from this viewpoint, you can't even see him. Even if we zoom in, you can see how he blends into the shadows. But from my onboard, like, I'm at this point, this is when I first saw him, started to brake. But you know what? I had to play it clever, because on this game, if I moved too left or too right and didn't clear his car, my tyre, either my right tyre or my left tyre, depending on where I moved, would have been sheared completely off him. So in the end, last minute, you know, just a kind of reflex, I actually broke to try and slow down my speed, but I actually tried to stay pretty level with him, just in order to hit him at the right angle where my front wing broke, but my wheels did not shear off. So we're still in the qualifying session, but Mick Schumacher, what on earth? Hang on a minute. He's not even in the car. He's not even driving! Ferrari have just parked their car in the middle of the circuit on the racing line. I can't believe what I'm even seeing. What the hell has just happened? And his car is still there with no driver in it. It's just a car that's now got a broken rear left tyre, and it's still parked there on the main straight. I don't know what to make of this. Is this the most underhanded Ferrari tactics to try and ensure that their other Italian rivals don't do well and cause upset in their home, you know, kind of mecca, if you will? Because this is Ferrari land, the Tifosi coming out in full force. And so is that Ferrari trying to halt the progress of this other Italian team, Lamborghini, in partnership with our team? In the end, we do go on to qualify into Q2, but I've been given a 5-place penalty for my collision with Mick Schumacher. How does that make sense? I got a penalty for that, and Mick Schumacher, he's out of the session anyway, so he's last place, obviously, but he did not get a penalty that's going to get added to the next race or something for that. How have Ferrari got away with that? It truly is Ferrari International Assistance. This is madness. That is the biggest glitch I have seen on the F1 game in a long, long while. A driverless car just parked on the racing line. And I didn't show it to you guys, but for the remainder of Q1, his car was just there on the main straight. No one collected it for the entirety of Q1. Obviously, because there's no mechanics to red flag qualifying sessions in the F1 game at the moment. So, yeah, what a weird and mental way to start the Italian Grand Prix weekend. We're going to put that behind us, continue qualifying. We go through the motions to get through into Q3. We're quite close in level pegging with Pierre Gasly at this point. McLaren and Red Bull up there. Audi Sport with Théo Pourchaire getting to the top 10. Sainz nearly gets in, but just not quite enough. Alexander Albon, the improved Aston Martin Honda, is also in the top 10 shootout. So that's going to be quite interesting, along with the usual suspects, as it gets a little bit overcast in the last part of qualifying. The clouds are rolling in. There is maybe a little bit of forecast for rain for the weekend on Sunday, but could it come earlier in Q3 with the way the weather is looking? It's looking pretty damn bleak out there. The track is a little bit colder, and maybe that might affect the lap times. And how will that affect car to car? We're going to have to see. But Ocon goes quickest right now. I then go quicker. But by the second flying lap, or third, I should say, actually, third full lap, because I went for a second flyer that we didn't improve on. Gasly is up in provisional pole. Alonso second. We're third, ahead of the two McLaren cars. So the Lamborghini engine working well for Gasly. It works well for me as we get up into second place. It's not quite pole position. That would have been incredible, but it is an Italian upset. It's the other Italian team, the newer Italian team, getting pole position, and it's a front row lockout. But Gasly, as we saw in the previous season, on a different planet, 4/10 ahead of me. I just spoke about he's got more to give. Well, clearly he's been buoyed by the new contract extension, because that's a bit more like the Gasly we knew last season, having those 4/10s on me in qualifying. But this is, well, quite embarrassing for Ferrari, really, that we've locked out the front row with Lamborghini here. Alonso, off the back of that race winner, Portimao, in a good third place ahead of both McLaren. So momentum swinging maybe a little bit differently as we see Verstappen, though, to be fair, compared to how they've been so far this season, I think Ferrari will actually be quite happy with P6, though, for Max Verstappen. And unfortunately, Albon and Théo Pourchaire don't really do much in the Q3 session, down in P9 and 10. But for us, it's the front row lockout. But actually, sorry, it's not a front row lockout. It is 1-2 in quali, but we have the 5-place penalty for hitting not even Mick Schumacher, hitting Mick Schumacher's Ferrari, that was parked on the racing line as I started. Like, just how does that make sense? So I'm going to be starting in P7 then. Hopefully it's going to end up being lucky for us. My lucky number P7 on the car. Hopefully it's going to be that way for the race. But we've got rain on the way, which could make things very, very interesting. Yep, it is indeed going to be a wet and wild Italian Grand Prix. We're down in P7 with that penalty, and it's intermediates to start off. This is going to be chaotic, to say the least, with this kind of weather. I think it's going to get drier towards the end of the race, the forecast is saying. But I need to also add into this, we've got another caveat of this entire race. So, breaking the fourth wall a bit, I actually was recording this episode with a personal injury, a real-life injury. So, earlier this week, I sprained my left foot, my left ankle, and it was still paining me quite a bit whilst recording qualifying, but more so into this race, constantly moving and angling my foot to brake was really exacerbating the issue. So, what you're going to see some driving later in this race where it's very noticeable that I have lost brake performance, and that's not because I'm doing anything on purpose or whatever, or there's something with the game. Legitimately, I was having to manage a slight niggle and injury on my left foot, my braking foot. So, you know, think of it almost like, you know, in real life, sometimes, you know, drivers, unfortunately, away from Formula One, they have injuries and they battle through it. Think of, you know, recently, you know, earlier this year, Lance Stroll broke his hand and came back, and it's had some, you know, stitchings and metal in it or whatever, or other drivers have fought through pain. I'm not equating that at all in any kind of way. Those are absolute gladiator moments by them lot in real F1 cars. But this was a genuine situation where I was actually having quite a lot of discomfort with my braking foot and having to push through it because I wanted to get this episode recorded for you guys. Maybe in hindsight wasn't too wise and I should have just rested my foot, but, you know, I've already made that decision. It's already done. We've recorded the episode, so here we are. So, yeah, that's another added layer to this race. I've not only lost my second row because of that stupid-ass penalty from that Ferrari glitch. We've got wet weather now, intermediates, and I've got this injury with a sprained ankle on my braking foot. So this is going to be a very interesting Italian Grand Prix. What is it with special one-off liveries? They always bring the wackiest situations in Formula One. And so with that, we go to 5 red lights. A yellow Lamborghini on pole position as we go to the Italian Grand Prix. Lights out. And we're underway in very tricky wet conditions. We're trying to get the power down as Piastri doesn't get off the line very well, and he's boxing me in with Lando Norris. He held up Max Verstappen. I thought I could maybe get the jump on both of them, but Piastri boxed us in with Lando Norris. Verstappen hops the curb, and we have to take avoiding action. So in the end of it, we just remain in 7th place. I'm checking for damage because we did make a little bit of contact with the Red Bull Ford, but there is no damage to report from our engineer as we now try and maybe have a little look at Lando Norris, but already you're seeing some locking up from me, and that is just due to I can't press down my brake as easily as I would like to. It's not a smooth motion, so that's going to be an issue all race long, let me tell you, in terms of managing that pain through the race. As Pierre Gasly, our teammate from pole position, leads the Italian Grand Prix. Fernando Alonso chasing after him in 2nd place. Then comes Liam Lawson. Esteban Ocon in a very lofty position for Alpine in P4. Then comes Piastri, the reigning world champion, Lando Norris, and then myself. But we are losing performance to Lando Norris and maybe looking backwards in our mirrors. We go wide. Verstappen is already on the back of us. That Ferrari, as of late, has looked so slippery in a straight line, especially here at their home race in front of the big Tifosi crowd. Verstappen sends it down the inside, gets up into P7. We're down to P8. At this point, I'm thinking I just need to get through 26 more laps and just manage this issue I've got in myself and in the cockpit here and get to the end of this damn race. Poor chair in the Audi outbrakes me into turn 1. That is how dire the situation was in terms of I could not slam the brakes into turn 1 as much as you'd usually do. I just could not slow it down. This car is so good in a straight line though. We've built an absolute beauty of a PU, but under braking, I just cannot match the pace we've got in a straight line. So I'm going to have to hope that the straight line speed is enough to maybe carry us through, but we're going backwards right now. We're going from P7 down to P9. Verstappen, meanwhile, is going forwards. He's chasing after Piastri, putting the pressure on him. Lando Norris has got ahead And he's up into P5. Ocon right on the back of Liam Lawson as well. So the McLaren's not looking too hot. You know, one of them under pressure by the Ferrari. And Verstappen actually overtakes Piastri. Piastri makes a mistake. Verstappen's overtaken him. He's up into P6. And you've got Ocon in the Alpine pressurizing the other papaya car. Meanwhile, it's Gasly being chased after by Fernando Alonso. 3 wide, though, ahead of us. Verstappen, Pourchaire, and Piastri. Teo Pourchaire is going to make a double pass in the Audi at Parabolica. What a move for the Frenchman. He's up into P6. He's still having to do some work. It's going to be 3 wide again. Ferrari on the right, McLaren on the left, and Audi Sport in the middle. Again, easy does it into turn 1, but I'm sensing an opportunity to overtake one of these guys on the exit of this second turn. Pourchaire, though, is legit up into P6 then for Audi Sport, showing the upgrades are working finally for them at this race circuit. But we're going to make a double pass on Verstappen and Piastri, get to the brake zone and on the racing line just to hold up Verstappen and Piastri. Obviously, they're going to have to, you know, adjust for where I'm braking. It's always the car behind that has to make sure they're not getting it all crossed up if someone ahead is braking a bit earlier, whether it's being wet conditions or an injury, you know, whatever the case. So that was my thinking there of just getting to the racing line and then slowing it down in whatever way I want to. Meanwhile, Gasly pressurized by Fernando Alonso, but he's going to remain in first place for now. But the top 4 are bunching up, and Pourchaire is now got clean air to chase after them. And Gasly continues to be pressurized by last race's race winner, Fernando Alonso, trying to go around the outside, and this is slowing them up. Liam Lawson's in there now as well. Ocon too, potentially. He's been dropped a little bit by Lawson because Lawson smells the race lead. It's 3 wide for the race lead at Monza going into turn 1. Lap 4, Gasly in the middle of Lawson and Alonso. Alonso being the more aggressive one, trying to still get that P1. Lawson a bit more cautious, remains in third place. And then behind, you've got Lando Norris, who's actually caught up to Ocon and overtaken him. So the Red Bull Fords are actually looking very quick as well, as Alonso, speaking of, is now ahead of Gasly. But can Gasly come back at him? Yes, he can. In the middle of the chicane, the Frenchman retakes the lead, but Alonso is actually ahead of him in that drag race. So the Ford engine in the back of the Red Bull clearly working well, just as well as the Lamborghini engine in that yellow car of Gasly's. As he's down to P2, Alonso leads the way, and Lando Norris may come knocking on the door of Liam Lawson, but also Teo Pourchaire has now closed up to the Alpine. He's in the mixer. He's actually just overtaken Ocon there in the background as we are watching, though, and focusing on Gasly, our teammate, as he's struggling for some grip there. Maybe tyre wear coming in already, I don't know, or just not feeling confidence in the car. Gasly down to third place, I think that is, as we are looking behind us. We can see Ocon ahead, but I need to worry about Max Verstappen. We come back to the racing line, though. Oh, Verstappen's crashed! Verstappen's hit the back of us. He's rear-ended us as we go across the curbs. The sleeping policeman. It's the red flag. Red flag is out for Max Verstappen. The Ferrari has crashed out of this Italian Grand Prix. And, well, let's look at the replay of what happened here. I think I know what's happened here. Is I've gone back to the racing line, which I'm allowed to do. I've made one move back to the racing line at Verstappen. I know I broke early, and I'm braking earlier in some of these brake zones, but Verstappen there, he was moving from left to right, so he was trying to dive it to the inside, and he's just misjudged it and gone into our rear end. I don't know, you'll have to let me know if I'm in the wrong there for braking earlier because of my situation, but I like I said, it's the car behind's job to judge these things, and Verstappen didn't judge that well at all as he was moving in the brake zone to get to the inside. He misjudged the closing speed and has crashed into our rear end. So the red flag has come and gone. We're now on lap 7 as we get underway once again for a second time off 5 red lights, and this is an opportunity for all of us as we have a cracking getaway. We've overtaken Pourchaire. We've thought about overtaking Ocon, but then unfortunately, my brake performance into turn 1 left a lot to be desired. Pourchaire hops the curb, so we're actually still going to get him up into P6, but we couldn't have a go at Esteban Ocon. But ahead of us. There's chaos going on. Gasly is down to P4 now. Alonso, sorry, I've only just noticed. That's Alonso in P3. So Alonso is leading the race, but off pole position from that restart. He's down to 4th. Poor Chair's just done me with that just awful brake zone, but I literally could not brake any better than that. That's how sore my ankle was. So just needs must. Gonna have to fight through it and just manage it as best I can and try and make overtakes where I can, but it's basically a very patient game from me as we kind of jockey and weave about and try to get Ocon through the middle of the corner. So basically trying to make a move on the inside, outbraking someone is off the table today, but what I can do is try and use the lightweight car. You know, this car is good in the corners. It's great on power, and that's what I'm trying to go for. But at the moment, we're watching Gasly defending Poor Chair. He stayed in 3rd place. Poor Chair, though, up into 4th place then for Audi. This is incredible stuff. And it's not even Carlos Sainz in the Audi. It's Poor Chair, the younger rookie F2 driver, is up into P4. He's having a blinder a race. This could be his breakout race in Formula 1 as we're having a go at Fernando Alonso. And we're looking to overtake him now on the main straight onto lap number 9. So it's Lawson that leads the way then after all of this. So his patient waiting has paid off. Norris in 2nd place then, so he's the stronger of the 2 Red Bulls now as Piastri tries to make the double pass on me and Fernando Alonso. We're going to try and re-overtake Piastri if we can, but we have actually booked in that move on Fernando Alonso. So despite my lack of performance under braking, I'm still doing pretty well. Oh my god! It's another red flag. Absolute cat. What is going on in this race? A 2nd red flag in Monza. For what? It's only been like 2 laps, I swear, as well. And it's because of something going on in the back of the grid. Actually, quite a lot of fighting going on with Andretti having a go at Alfa Romeo Haas. But it's a Ferrari that is sideways and backwards. A Mercedes in the gravel trap. And all of that reversing for the Andretti, the Alfa Romeo Haas, the Merc, the Ferrari. Yeah, I can see why they red flagged that one. I mean, everyone was just everywhere off the exit of turn 2. So it was a bit dangerous. But through 2 red flags, it's still not dry enough for the slick tyres. We're still going to start on inters, but look at that icon on the top. It's just one icon of rain, and then it's going to be dry. So the slick tyres may not be too far away, but for the 3rd time in this race, we go to 5 red lights, and we're underway. Lawson off P1, gets a horrendous start, and through goes Lando Norris and Théo Pourchaire. The Frenchman's up to 2nd place in the Audi. This is incredible. This is unreal stuff. Pourchaire is now chasing after the race leader, Lando Norris. We're up into 3rd place despite the easy going into turn 1. You know, that patient game that we're playing so far is working out for us. We're ahead. Gasly's overtaking the 2 McLarens. They're down to P5 and 6. Alonso continues to struggle in this 2nd phase of the Grand Prix down in P7. And his teammate is actually facing some struggles and some pressure from Théo Pourchaire, who just might lead his 1st ever Formula 1 race for the 1st time. Can he get it down the inside? No. I think Norris was going to have that as Gasly overtakes us into turn 1. Didn't put up much of a fight because I knew he was going to outbrake us. In the same car, he's going to be quicker in this race. There's literally no point fighting him too much, but I am going to fight him a little bit on the exit here because, you know, last episode is still a bit raw. You know, that Portimao race is a little bit raw still, so I tried to squeeze him, but in the end, locking up, just not a fight I can even take to him. And unfortunately, very much like the start of the race, the vibes are I'm just going backwards on pure pace because of all the time I'm losing in every big break zone. Liam Lawson now has overtaken us. Can we come back at him though? Maybe do a better job at overtaking him than we did with Pierre Gasly through this into the next left-hander as we go around the outside like we did with Gasly. But this time we'll get to the racing line and I'm able just to slow up the pace race and control everyone behind me into the brake zone as we get up back into P4. Meanwhile, Gasly on towards lap 15 of this race is showing why it was probably a very good thing that I let him by and didn't put up much of a fight, because he's going to go and overtake one, maybe even two. This is the best of Pierre Gasly we have seen this season. Look at that, from P3 to P1. Gasly retakes the lead in this race that he lost so long ago in those opening laps versus Alonso. Pourchaire, though, remains in second ahead of Lando Norris, but what a performance from Gasly there, and I'm actually now very happy that he overtook us, because I would have just held him up there and he wouldn't have been able to do that. So he's got much more potential in this race. He's leading the way as we continue to stay ahead of Liam Lawson. But on lap 16, I actually call in to box in this lap. I think it's time for the dry tyres. DRS has been activated onto the next lap, and I think that's always time to come in for the slick tyres on the F1 game. Personally, even though it looks quite wet still, that's just a thing that happens in this game. But yeah, with 10 laps to go, I'm doing the motto, go big or go home. So I'm going on to a U set of soft tyres. I'm pitting a lot earlier than anyone else. Actually, no. Oh, no, I stand corrected. Looks like Alpine have also followed me onto the dry tyre. Well, actually, I followed them because they're actually already on the mediums, and Ocon is going to overtake me. So, actually, I stand corrected. This may not just be me having a bit of a throw of the dice and maybe potential genius moment. Alpine and even Andretti with Sergio Perez there have all pit for mediums, so they're going for a bit more durability on the tyre. I'm going for out-and-out grip, because in these wet conditions, the soft compound is going to be the best dry tyre for grip. But unfortunately, obviously, my braking's not there, but I did still manage to slide that car through. Oh, no. No! Pierre Gasly, he was nearly 3 seconds clear of Norris, dominating this race, having made that wonderful two-person pass for the lead on lap 15. And 2 laps later, he's staring at the wall and he's out. He's got an engine failure. I mean, we've had two no points finishes, so maybe Gasly was due a big DNF, but that is so gutting for him. That is he deserved to win this race, because he was dominating it. He was flying in that part of the race, and now I'm in a bit of a sandwich with Alpine. As I was saying, I did quite well to slide my car through and overtake Ocon, but actually, behind me, even though I was ahead of Ocon, Ricciardo here ahead of us, he's actually the quickest man on circuit. He set the fast lap of the Grand Prix, so I on purpose did not put up much of a fight versus him and Ocon, because I thought, okay, with my braking performance, maybe the Alpines are just much quicker than me. But then to my frustration, a lap later, they're just too busy squabbling each other. Ricciardo, the fastest man on circuit with a purple lap time, he's just, I don't know what he's doing. He's just making a mockery of overtaking Ocon, and they're now holding me up. I thought they were going to be a horse to my carriage, pulling me along, but no, now we've got to go re-overtake them because I was too friendly to them. I thought they were the quicker cars, and, they would be going off into the distance, but despite me having to drive with basically half a left foot, we've actually managed to re-overtake them both. And I think in clean air, I can be quicker, as on lap 21, this is 4 laps after I've pit. The top guys are still on intermediates. Lawson now has just made a double pass. He's emulated Gasly and overtaken Pourchaire and Lando Norris. It seems like Pourchaire or Norris, they're just not destined to win this race because someone keeps overtaking them so easily for P1. So Lawson's in the lead, Pourchaire second, then it's 2 Red Bulls, and then Carlos Sainz. So it's a double top 5 for the 2 Audi sport cars, which is amazing if they can see that through to the end. But lap 21... I think you've got the same question as I'm going to ask now. What on earth is going on with the pit stops? I'm on softs. I've been on softs for 4 laps now. Ocon and Ricciardo on mediums. Everyone else is still on inters. And the track is now bone dry. It is dry. And I've caught up to Joe. I've caught up to Drugovich, and on lap 22, I'm finally going to get into a rhythm, and the straight line speed of this car, not the braking, the straight line speed though, is carrying me through to a fastest lap of the Grand Prix. We're now catching up to the two Mercedes cars, having a bit of a squabble. Russell, Leclerc, side by side. The Ferrari of Murray Walker has entered the chat. Is it? Don't know what that's about. Anyway, the two Mercs, they were side-by-side fighting. The Ferrari spun it, and it's bone dry. Those intermediates, maybe they've become into slick tyres. Remember Turkey 2020, where the intermediates wear enough, where the tread becomes a slick tyre on its own. So maybe these guys are going to go on to the end of the Grand Prix on the into slicks. That they are now, I don't know. No, Sainz is in, Pourchaire's in, and Lawson, the leader, he's in. We're up into P6 now, and we're going to carry on going. There's still the top 5 yet to pit, and now they come in, and all of a sudden, on lap 25, we lead the Italian Grand Prix. What on earth has gone on in this race? The two Alpines are up into a double podium. Lawson was the race leader. He's P4. Pourchaire, he was P2. He's now P5. Alonso has jumped Norris in the pits. So he's P6. Norris 7th. Sainz in 8th. Perez in the Andretti on mediums. He's legitimately in the top 10. Could this be the first points for Andretti in Formula 1? He's, oh no, he's gone. He's down to P12 now. He's gone. It's the second last lap. Perez is out the points. We're still leading though, but by 1 second, because at this point, my race lead was eroded. I had 4 seconds. It's now under 1 second because Liam Lawson is on much fresher dry tyres and he's rapid on those tyres. And at this point, the pain in my left foot was quite a lot. I was really nursing my sprained ankle. So Lawson is looking rapid onto the last lap of the Grand Prix. I mean, the fact we're even in this situation fighting for the race win at Monza in this yellow Lamborghini special with an injury. Lawson gets up into P1. He outbroke me, but we've overtaken a McLaren here before on this Curva Grande into the left-hander. Can we do it again using the Lamborghini power? We're going to use all the battery, get to the outside, and crucially cut across onto the racing line. Easy does it. We control the pace out in front, and we're going to slow up Liam Lawson and just do our own race in the corners. Meanwhile, Ocon is in third. Ricciardo's slumped all the way down to P6, unfortunately, so the double Alpine podium is gone. But Pourchaire might even get third place by the end of this. Could there still be a very first podium for Audi in Formula 1 and a very first podium for Pourchaire as he's going to make the move? He's made it! He's made it! The Frenchman gets up into third place. What a move for Pourchaire! Audi into a podium in Formula 1. But the bigger story today, outshadowing that, is this unbelievable result. How the hell have we pulled this off? We are going to win the Italian Grand Prix. Oh my God. 2 red flags, an ankle injury. You saw the lack of braking we had. Rain, dry, everything. We've come through it all. We've sifted through all the hurdles today to come up with what might possibly be my best ever race win on F1 games, period. Just because of everything that happened. Incredible.
Well, what a thrilling end to an incredible Grand Prix weekend. Our top 3 finishers should be incredibly happy with what they were able to achieve out there today.
Genuinely, this race win feels like when Gasly won Monza 2020. We ended up in P1. And we weren't meant to be there. You saw, how quick Lawson was. Lawson caught us up 4 seconds in like 2 laps, or even less. It was ridiculous. But what that was us holding our nerve, doing what we needed to do by holding him up in the corners, using the engine power that was still there in the car to stay ahead on the straights. and somehow hold on to that race win. That could have easily been Liam Lawson winning. And it all started from us pitting on lap 17 for the soft compound. Pitting that early, you know, 8 laps the AI went on intermediates on a fully bone-dry circuit. And that was also a massive contribution to us even being in that position. So that ended up being a 300, maybe even 5,000 IQ play. Maybe not as clever as Austria, but still a pretty damn good one. Unbelievable. That race is going to go down in the history books just because of what the context of all of that, what happened, the penalty, the Q1 incident, ankle injury, the lack of pace in braking, but still great in a straight line. You know, we weren't even looking that great before we made that pit stop. We were, you know, what was it, like P7, P6, and then we pit. And everyone staying out in Inters just changed everything. Incredible. But also other stories. Teo Porcher, take a bow. A podium. First podium in Formula 1. First podium for Audi in Formula 1. Amazing stuff. This has been an incredible episode. I'm glad I pushed through the pain to record it in the end of it, because what a race it produced. Guys, if you have enjoyed it, hit the like button. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. And if you're around here, then do get subscribed for weekly Formula 1 content. I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.